Hey, Prince Magnum, you keep making dishes with pasta. You keep talking about pasta and how cheap it is and how versatile it is. But there's some stuff we don't know about pasta you've yet to talk about. Well, stick around. That's exactly what we're going to do. Hello once again, and welcome to the Prince Magnum channel, where hot rodding and romance do coexist. I'm your host, Prince Magnum. Welcome to another edition of Surviving Romance. It's been a little while since I've got on the camera for Surviving Romance, but in this episode we're going to break down and do some interesting talking about pasta. And don't worry, we're going to get to actually cooking some pasta just shortly. But a lot of times here on the channel, you all hear me talk about pastas and saying this pasta is good for this and this pasta is good for that. But a lot of times I really don't break it down for you all, and that's really kind of bad of me, and I do apologize for that. But, you know, husbands, if we're going to make a pasta dish that resembles that one particular scene from the cartoon Lady and the Tramp, we're going to need to know some things about our pastas. All right, first things first, I do have some of the popular pastas that we keep here at HQ. Now, there's a lot more pastas in the world to choose from. There's several different types, and most of them from Italy. There is a bunch from Asia, you know, more specifically from the Orient. Pasta's just kind of a thing that's all around the world. But in this country, one of the most popular is, of course, the durum wheat pastas, which we typically associate with Italian cuisine. And of course, now more and more, we're starting to see other types of pastas show up. Of course, again, Oriental pastas, and of course now even whole grain pastas, and some of them that's made out of spinach and all sorts of other stuff. But by and large, the bulk of what you're usually going to see at your local grocery store is going to be durum wheat pasta. Now, the first thing that you need to know when you go to purchase pasta, if you plan to stockpile it, keep it in your pantry for a long while, your best bet is not to go with box. First, if you plan on using it within a month or two, this is fine. But if you plan on keeping it on the shelf for a while, it's like, we're getting close to payday, we're kind of a little bit more broke than usual. If you plan for long-term storage, plastic bags are the way to go. However, if you do decide to go ahead and get it in the box anyways, get one of those airtight, sealable containers, kind of keeps the moisture and everything, keep it out of the light, sealed up tight, and pasta like this will still keep, you just can't leave it in the regular cardboard box, okay? That being said, most of the time your regular durum wheat pasta is going to be the cheapest. Now, depending on your dish, depends on the type of pasta that you actually need, okay? So first things first, ironically enough, I like to keep cut ziti or penne rigattas for all of my pastas that are going to be getting some sort of tomato sauce. Now, this is the same tomato sauce that we made here on the channel in one of our last Surviving Romance videos. If you want the recipe for this, check that video out. Make sure that you blend it smooth. Cook up just regular old, cut ziti or rotini. Rotini's not bad for this. Penne rigattas, perfect for that. And of course, ratatouille's always just fine for these. When you want to talk macaroni and cheese, ironically enough, I do like ratatouille's. Of course, elbow being traditional. Penne ricotta perfect for macaroni and cheese. As a matter of fact, my 18th century style macaroni and cheese, perfect with penne rigata. Okay, and so these are, you know, kind of the mainstays for anything that's going to be receiving a heavy sauce, like a cheese sauce or a tomato sauce, or even a tomato and meat sauce. These are the pastas I typically go with, and those again are ratatouilles, penne rigatas, ziti, or rotini, which rotini is also good for, of course, pasta salads. So there you have it, okay? These are kind of the mainstays that you definitely want to see. And of course, if you're going to do fettuccine alfredo or any type of, fettuccine, you got to have fettuccine noodles. So this is also a mainstay here, here at HQ. Absolutely wonderful. And of course, your typical spaghetti, okay? And this is your typical spaghetti pasta, and a lot of people immediately, as soon as you pull out one of these, one of the first things that they do is think spaghetti and meat sauce, or spaghetti and meatballs, or spaghetti and a tomato sauce. Actually, if you did that in Italy, they would look at you like you had lost your mind. Spaghetti is actually supposed to be rolled with kind of an olive oil and covered with cheese. Sometimes they'll put different herbs on it. Other than that, that's really all spaghetti's supposed to be getting. It's really not supposed to get much of anything, other than just simple olive oil and like a Parmesan cheese or Romano. Sometimes even Asiago will go on it. And then, of course, you'll throw on, say, something like parsley or cilantro, or, just some sort of herb like that. And that's all it gets, okay? And, of course, again, I did mention that we are starting to see more and more of the whole wheat pastas, and this is a whole wheat spaghetti. And pretty much any one of these packs, under $2 at your local Walmart, Dollar Tree, Dollar General, even Country Mart right here in Bon Terre. You can buy all of this for less than $1. Now, I already hear some of you over here, you do see a package of ramen noodles, and this is a pasta. Actually, most people don't even realize, the origins of ramen noodles. Ramen noodles was actually designed in China. At that time, China was a war-torn country, and we're talking they had just dealt with the First World War, Second World War, dealing with the French, and of course the communist takeover by Mao Zedong. And after Chairman Mao, there wasn't much in the way of food for the populace of China. So the best thing to do at that point is they needed something that people can eat. And this was what they came up with, was ramen noodles. And I really do like ramen noodles. I think, it's one of those things, when you see this sort of stuff, you automatically think, you think of prison, and no, actually, if you cook this up, a lot of times I'll actually cook this up, put on an olive oil or maybe some sort of vinaigrette, and then put some, you could take and actually put almonds with it or something like that, and it's really good. It's really good. The secret to ramen noodles is not to use these. This is mostly salt, and this stuff is very dangerous for you. I should also mention that these aren't 100% healthy for you, because they are cooked in a palm kernel oil, which is a saturated fat, not exactly heart friendly. So I do like them, but I don't eat them very often, because we know that I do have some heart issues because of my PTSD. Okay, so I do enjoy these on occasion, but the secret is you don't use these. All right, so now that we threw that away, so what are we going to go with in this particular video? Well, we're going to save this for another episode. You guys aren't exactly ready for that. And most of you all know how to do durum wheat pastas, so that pretty well leaves the whole wheat spaghetti, which is what we're going to cook up this time around. I'll be honest with you, I'm not the greatest at cooking up at whole grain pastas, but we're going to see how this turns out because I got a funny feeling that we might be able to make something good out of this. This is about the time that I've got an 8-quart stock pot right here with about water about 2 to 3 inches from the top. When you're doing fettuccine or like we're doing spaghetti, that's how you want to do it, okay? But if you're doing the smaller stuff, rotini, penne ricotta, ziti, rotini, you know, any of those smaller ones, go ahead. You don't have to have, I know there's some chefs that swear you've got to have that 8-quart stock pot, you know, the biggest pot that you got, up to a gallon per pound. Look, some of us haven't got that kind of space to keep an 8-quart stock pot around. Use what's available in that case. But if you're doing spaghetti like we're doing today, anything long like this, 8-quart stock pot is what you're gonna need, okay? Now, here in just a moment, as this is still coming to a boil, all right, we're gonna need to do some sort of seasoning. Pasta needs salt, okay? And you've all heard me say it numerous times here on the Prince Magnum channel, and I'm sure there's other chefs that have said the same thing. A good cook doesn't salt food to make it taste salty. They salt food to make it taste more like itself, okay? There's something to do with the ionic properties with salt. Kind of helps carry flavors. I'm not, I know a lot about the medical field and a lot about science, but I'm not that deep into it, okay? Someone knows about it, leave it in the comments below. But anyhow, since we're on the subject of salt, and we've already talked about the types of pastas that we keep here at HQ, let's go ahead and talk about the types of salts that we keep here at HQ. Now, for normal, everyday, for like brines and everything like that, if I'm, just kind of doing something for just myself or Princess Faye, just good old kosher salt is all you need, okay? Nothing special, nothing fancy, just good old kosher salt. And ironically enough, if I remember correctly, I bought this for $1 at Dollar Tree, okay? Pretty reasonably cheap right there if you ask me. Okay, now I said we keep different salts. Even though I'm almost out, we do keep sea salt, okay? And we keep it in something that looks like a pepper grinder. And believe it or not, it does an amazing job, grinding on sea salt and everything. I love using this whenever I'm making seafood, okay? It's perfect for that, all right? Something about it just brings on that extra something that, seafood, need I say more, and it's sea salt, okay? Even though it's in a grinder form, all right? Let's talk about some mineral salts that we keep here. Now, thankfully, with the way things have been going in our grocery stores, we have a wider selection of most anything today, more than we did, say, 10, 20 years ago. So what's really cool about that is today, very popular now, even in health food stores, is the Himalayan pink salt. Now, this is very popular stuff, and a lot of people really like it because it brings on a nice mineral flavor to it, because it is a mineral salt, hence the pink color. This stuff is amazing, and it's one of my personal favorites. So if you yourself want to try bringing a little bit of other flavors along to the party, and you don't want to just use regular old salt, this is the way to go. So definitely, definitely something you might want to keep in your pantry, pink Himalayan salt. And just for the record, the minerals that are in here are actually pretty good for you. So one of the reasons why we keep it on hand here at HQ. But another one that we keep on hand is the Hawaiian black salt. It is an absolute favorite here at HQ. This stuff is amazing again. We use it on a lot of stuff. And again, the minerals that are in this salt are not bad for you at all. They're actually good for you. Wouldn't hurt you a bit, okay? And a little bit of this stuff goes a long ways. However, I will also say, we don't use regular table salt because of the simple fact that table salt likes to mess with my heart. The iodine in there, for some reason, I'm kind of allergic to it, if you will. Heart starts doing that number. So if you're like me and you got some heart issues, whether you've got PTSD or you just didn't take care of yourself or you're just prone to those sort of things, you might want to consider some mineral salts or sea salt
or maybe just regular old plain kosher salt. These things are easily obtainable and usually pretty doggone affordable. For the record, I will also say that if you have a nasty habit of oversalting your food, you may want to start looking into those diets that reset your taste buds, or seek professional help. Because if you don't get that taken care of and you keep oversalting your food, you will have problems with your heart. And a stroke or a heart attack is not anybody's idea of a good time. It sure isn't to me. All right? So, in just a moment, this will be ready for us to break out and put our spaghetti in. Okay, folks, we've, just like on television, the Prince Magnum channel can fold time and space. We've been waiting at this pot for nearly a half an hour because my stove sucks. So if you're like me, you're going to be waiting a good minute for this. But hey, the best things are worth waiting for, all right? Now this pot has gotten about as much thermal energy as it's going to be able to hold. Before this, I went ahead and took the time and added some pink Himalayan salt to my water. Brought it up to, you know, kind of a, what some people might call a seawater taste, okay? And if you know what that tastes like. Now, I have my whole grain pasta right here. Please note, I am not going to do what some of you do, and I'm going to explain that in a moment. I'm going to basically do my very best and kind of fan it out, okay? Fan it out. Then take my spring-loaded tongs and gently work the pasta into the water. Now, why did I not snap it like a lot of us do here in the States and just cram it down into the water? Well, actually, what sometimes happens is the pasta kind of clumps up together and it won't cook properly. That's why some of the worst spaghettis I've ever had, that's one of the things I see them doing. They snap the pasta and they just throw it right in, okay? Folks, please don't do that. Please don't do that at all. Gently work your pasta down into the water. And there we go, okay? Please don't do that. Snap your pasta and throw it in there. I mean, that's horrible. I know many Italians laugh at us because we do stupid stuff like that here in the United States. Don't treat your pasta that way. For the record, typically speaking, one of the nasty habits that us Americans have is we'll take a really good food and we'll mess it up trying to make it convenient, okay? Don't get lazy. Work your pasta in. Something else that I should also say, one of the other things that we're really nasty about in this country is we'll mishandle the pasta and worry about the sauce that's going on it. Well, this is going to be a simple sauce today. More on that later. But to me, that's like going bonkers over the ketchup and burning the burger, okay? So don't do that, all right? So as the video progresses, you're going to see exactly what we're going to do. Oh, by the way, now would be a great time. Clamp on the lid. Give this a couple of minutes. We're going to come back and check it, and how we're going to check it is going to be super important. All right, folks. Now our pasta's been going for probably close to about 4 minutes, and it's time to start checking in on it regularly. Anytime after this, don't wander off too far, okay? So what we're going to do is we're going to get our spring-loaded tongs, okay? And I say spring-loaded tongs because this is about the time that some of you do some weird stuff with pasta. I've heard of y'all throwing it up against walls, smashing it under, table legs, and that's no, we don't do that here, okay? What we do here at HQ is we'll take the top off, and it's starting to foam up a little bit, but we kind of expected that. All right, we're getting a little bit of a good boil going. Now, finally. Took us almost an hour, all right? Okay, it's getting close to that point where it's just about done perfectly, okay? About another minute on here. What we're looking for is kind of that, where the noodle kind of flops around, still a little springy, but it flops around really loosely, kind of like a, wet dish rag. But yet, when you go to bite into it, there's still just enough for the teeth to grab hold of. Oftentimes referred to as al dente. We call it perfectly done around here. Anything beyond that point, and it might as well be soup. Anything before that, and a little too much crunch. So, if you will, that's definitely, what we're not looking for. And again, don't wander off too far because you could have that happen. So do be careful. This is definitely the time to stay close at hand. All right, folks, our pasta is perfectly done. Again, what we were looking for was that point where it was just, if you will, should kind of look like this. Should be a little bit springy, and it'll taste just perfect, okay? But whatever you do when dealing with spaghetti noodles, I don't care if it's whole grain or durum wheat, unless you plan to refrigerate it, don't bother rinsing it. The loose starch on there is what we're going to need for our sauce that we're going to put on there. I know what you're saying, Prince Magnum, you didn't break out the tomato sauce that you meant. We're not using it for this episode, okay? This is spaghetti. That's not how things roll around here. What we have here is about 3 to 5 cut up chunks of garlic, okay? So that's gonna go in, where did I put my tongs? Right over here, okay? So we're gonna put that in and kind of stir that around, okay? Don't worry, the pasta is plenty warm enough to cook that through just fine, okay? Just like that. Now, we need some sort of a sauce. Now, what we have in here is basically I have the juice of 1 full lemon, which just equals out a little over a teaspoon. A teaspoon, and then I have a teaspoon of regular olive oil because unless I was expecting company, maybe the wife's inviting some guests over or anything like that, that would definitely be the time to break out the extra virgin. If it's just her and I, this is all I need, okay? The regular cold press is just fine in this case. And like I said, so basically I have a teaspoon of cold pressed olive oil, a teaspoon, well, a little over a teaspoon of lemon juice, the zest of 1 lemon in here, and I've kind of let that sit for a little while so the flavors have a chance to melt. Now I'm going to go ahead and give this a shake. Make sure you're doing this in a very tight container. And what we're going to do is just this little bit. That's all it's going to take. And you'll see exactly what I'm talking about. Now that smells wonderful. Okay, definitely a time. Drizzle it on, real nice and gentle like. And if I've done my job properly, what I'll be able to do now is kind of give this a light stir. Just a light stir. Just like that. And you'll notice that the pasta starts to take on this beautiful shine. See that? See how that shines? Just like you waxed your brand new car. Okay? So now we've got the garlic in there. We've got lemon. Very healthy right now going on here. Okay? And you'll note there's no excess in the bottom of the bowl. Okay? That little bit did that much for this dish. Okay? Now, of course, from here, you could break out some parsley. You could break out some Parmesan cheese, some Asiago cheese, Romano cheese, some cilantro, or just like I'm gonna do, I'm gonna break out some dried parsley and some slivered almonds, and that'll be dinner, okay? When Princess Faye gets home from work, all she's got to do is decide what she wants, and it might be, again, some different cheeses or anything like that. And she might even put some almonds on, who knows? Homemade bacon bits would go great with this. Just some different stuff like that. Absolutely fantastic, perfectly healthy. And for those who are looking for a vegan solution to supper, well, I think I've solved that issue in this particular episode of Surviving Romance. All right. Wow. Hope she gets home soon because I'm awfully hungry. That being said, for all of you out there who are enjoying the 4th, who are watching this after the 4th of July, I hope it was a safe and happy 4th of July for you. And be sure to check out these fine people right here. These are the wonderful people that continue to help support the Prince Magnum channel and help, help keep my watch time minutes up and things like that. Just make sure that they're the ones that are helping make sure that my name gets out there and reaches some of you out there who are just now getting to know the Prince Magnum channel. So be sure to check these fine folks out because all of them help me out a great deal. And that brings us to the usual spot. As always, get out there and work on a project. Don't care what it is. Just do something with yourself. Remember, idle hands and a creative mind, they don't go well together. They make horrible bedfellows. If you have a sweetheart, sweep them off their feet and do something special for them today. And as always, for all of you out there, if no one out there has told you that they love you today, Prince Magnum does. God bless you and have a happy 24. Thank you.
Man. Wow, man, freaked out.